So if collision detection, so if this is true, and just to make this a little bit easier, yeah, we'll say if it's colliding with a collision, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna say boom, boom. I like to do both my brackets, and we're gonna say get component. So it's gonna get a component. In this case, it's going to be component. Why does that look wrong? Dot, and we want to get the rigid body, body 2D. So it's gonna grab that whatever rigid body 2D is attached to this, which we attached it earlier, if you remember. So this is like a function that it's going to call, and then to that, on that thing, it's going to add a force. All right, so add force, and the force it's going to be is going to be a new. So we're going to create a new vector 2. So because it's x and y, and the x and y are going to be 0. Because I don't care about moving it left and right based off of jump, right? It should just be y, which would be up. And that's going to be jump strength. All right, which is what I put up here, and we can change this number whenever we want. So initially it's going to be 0, and we'll put something else in there, times 2. Okay. Honestly, it didn't have to be times 2. I just decided to do times 2. Okay. And then after we jump, I'm going to go ahead and set the collision detection back to false. Okay. Because obviously here it would have to be true in order for this to happen. But as soon as you jump off, I want to turn it off. Because otherwise what will happen is that it'll say it's collided, and it'll stay on. It won't like turn back off. Because we're only going to set something to turn on. We're not going to turn it off. Okay. So we're going to turn it off here just through code instead of making a function that does it. And that's going to be false. Okay. So we're going to say jump. We're going to add a force vertically upwards, and then turn the collision detection back off. Okay. But if it's not colliding with the ground, we are going to do this. Okay, so if it doesn't sense that, it's going to get component dot again, it's going to grab the rigid body 2D, because it's a 2D rigid body. Okay, and we are going to again add a force, and this is going to be a new vector 2. And it's going to be 0, and jump strength again, and that's it. Okay, so basically the idea is this, is that if it's touching the ground, which this one says if it's touching the ground, then what you can do is do jump strength, so it's gonna be twice as strong. But if it's not touching the ground, meaning it's already in the air, or she's already in the air, because in my case it's Louise, it's going to be just 1 strength. Okay, and the reason why this is significant is basically this is my double jump. So if I'm already in the air, I can jump and then jump again, but the second jump isn't going to be as strong as the first jump when it's already on the ground. That's basically the idea behind it. Okay, and that is my function for the move. Now what I need to do is this. I need to make something that's going to test the collision here, because you can see I said, oh, but I don't have anything to say turn on. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is a built-in function just like update or start or on trigger, enter, or a bunch of the other ones. We're going to do one that's called on collision enter 2D. And I don't expect you guys to know these, because why would you? I don't even know them. So we're going to, well, I'll show you in a second. Collision 2D. Okay, basically this is the name of the function, and I was supposed to write function first, and I forgot to do that. Function. So it's gonna be a function on collision enter. Okay, that's like the built-in one. And then what's going to do is that when this gets called, and this only gets called when it enters, when something enters its collision. In this case, we have that 2D collision, and it's going to store what enters it, which is a collision 2D of whatever it hits. into, we're going to just name this variable collider. Okay, so this is just a parameter. It could be anything. We're not even going to use that. I just like to put it in there because we always put it in there. I don't have to put that in there. And we're just going to, if something does go in there, all this function is going to do is just set collision detection to true. It's just going to say, okay, if something enters it, say collision detection true. All right, so that's going to turn this on. And there you go. So that does that. Now, the other thing I need to do is that this says to get the component and to add this force. And that's great, but this only works for my jump. I need to do one that's going to do my forward motion. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one on a function fixed update. Fixed update. Okay, and this is, again, another built-in function. And we'll do our parameters, which will be empty. And then let's go ahead and do that. And this is just going to be get component dot rigid body. Okay, so because we're going to apply this to the rigid body 2D, boom, boom, dot add. This one's a little bit different. We're going to add a relative force, and that's going to be new, and it's going to be again a vector 2 because we're working vector 2, and it is going to be we're going to do 2 of these, movement, which was that, remember, that's the left and right arrow keys that, or it's our horizontal axis, times player speed. So this is how I'm going to control how fast you're allowed to move. And then 0, because I don't want to go that. So this one represents X, which is left and right, and this one represents Y. Okay. All right. Now, the reason why this one's slightly different is that this does add force. So add force is like, bam, it's just going to go boop. It's going to add it once, and that's it. Add relative force will build on itself. So while you hold it down, it will keep adding onto it. Okay, so it's a relative force. That's better for left to right movement because I want it to like build up. But for like a jump, I want it to just hit, right? Because you just hit off the ground. You don't. It's like a pop. It's not a slow buildup. So this works a little bit better for that. And we are going to save this, and I am going to go back to Unity, and you can see it doesn't gives me an error. So I'm gonna click on console, and it's gonna say, okay, 34. It was expecting this and got this. Okay, so 34. So it's line 34 and character 96. So where are you? 34 and line. See, I don't know what the thingies are here. So let's see. This I'm not getting a. Vector 2, that one goes there. This is gonna go here. Good. All right, and let's click back here, and that should go away. And actually, this might go away too. Okay, so I got rid of both of them. Yay! So now if I hit play, and I use my arrow keys. Oh, okay, it's not doing anything. The reason why is that if you look, I didn't put any movement speed. This is working. Oops, sorry. This is working. But I don't have anything for speed, so it's this times 0, which is going to be nothing. So I actually got to change this here. So we'll do, I don't even know what I need. We'll say 10, and then jump strength. I'm going to go ahead and do 100. You'll see it kind of makes a difference. So let's see. So 10 makes it go like this. All right. Woo. So 10's okay. And then I also don't have a jump key because I never switched. I never said what key I wanted to be jump. So I'm going to go ahead and set that. So this is actually not a good way to do it. I just want to show you another way of doing it. There'd be a better way of doing it if I go into the inputs and find one that works. But I'm just going to go ahead and assign this. I'm going to do spacebar. All right, so where are you, spacebar? Come on, spacebar. Did I miss it? I wonder if it was already up there. This is terrible, this way this thing's set up. Go up. Yeah, there's spacebar. So I'll make it space. Now I'll hit play, and then I'll see. Okay, so left and right, and you can see this is the jump, right? So you can see when I do a second one, it's not nearly as strong. It's just give it like a little bit of a stutter. So you can see it needs to be considerably stronger. So I'm just going to do 250 for now. We might need to adjust that. And I'm going to apply, so it applies it to all of the things here. And good. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. All right. Oops. I'm going to save this. And so basically we have it kind of working. Okay. We have the basic player controller working. Now we need to add some more stuff to this to make it a little bit better. So What else are we going to add? One thing we want to add is basically to a animation controller, because right now what it does is it jumps up and down, but it's not animating. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to go to project. I'm going to go to scripts. I want to make a new script, create JavaScript, and we're going to call it the player anim script, like that. And I'm just going to double click on that and open her up, and I'm going to wait. All this is going to do basically is just animate. It's not going to do anything other than that. So I'm only going to need a single variable. So variable, and it's just going to, I'm going to call it anim, and it's going to be an animator file, an animator type. Okay, so like we have floats and stuff. This is just one thing. The animator is the thing that controls the animation. So in my start, which really probably should be awake, because awake happens before start, and then after start happens update. But I'm just going to go ahead and put in start because I don't have an awake. So basically we're saying as soon as the script starts, I'm going to go ahead and take anim and oops equals and or a set of, and I'm going to go get component. And you might remember it from doing this earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and instead of writing it as one long code, I'm just going to store the animator component into this bit of code here. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to take it's going to get the component of what this is set onto, which is going to be the player, and it's going to set the animator into here. So basically I can manipulate the animator by using this variable there. Okay. Now this is actually going to have to work in tandem with the animator. So I actually got to set that up first. So I'm going to go to the animator here. And let's where are you? Why are you not? This works. Why are you not backing up? It's annoying me. Okay. All right. So here I have the drag. I'm select player. Here we go. And basically what I have is I have entry. So this is where it comes in. And basically it's going to Louise idle, but you can see there's no the Louise run animation, and this is called a state machine, and the Louise jump is not currently connected in any way. So what we're going to do is you can go from idle. So I'm going to right click on this, go make transition to Louise run, so I can go from idle to run, and I can also go back from run, because if I stop moving, back to idle. I can also go from idle to jump, and I can go, obviously once I'm done jumping, I can go back to idle. And the last thing I can do is I can go from Louise run, obviously, to jump. And obviously, if I stop jumping, I can go back into run, right? So basically, they can all go from each other, all right? Good. So each one of these can go from one to the other. Now what I need to do is I need to set parameters. And basically, parameters are things that need to happen for this to go from here to here. So if a parameter happens, it's going to go into Louise run. So in this case, it's going to be speed. So we're going to say if it goes a certain speed, then this will activate, and we're going to say basically if the jump button gets pressed, it's going to do jump. Okay, that's basically how it's going to work. So I just have to create some parameters. So I'm going to go up here, and the first one's going to be float, and I'm just going to call it speed. That's good. And I'm going to create another parameter, and this one's going to be a Boolean, and it's just going to say jump, right? Good. So basically those are the two things. Now I'm going to click on this, and then you see this little down arrow. That means from Louise jump, or from Louise idle to run, this is what's going to happen. So I'm going to turn off has exit time. It just makes it so that this will automatically, it'll just snap to it. It won't take time. Now the condition that this needs to happen is the condition is going to be speed. So I'm going to say if the speed is greater than, I'm just going to put 0.1. So basically if it's going faster than 0.1, then it's going to go ahead and go to this. And to go back, and I'm again going to turn off exit time. I'm going to say, okay, if the speed is less than 0.1, so if it's going less than 0.1, it's going to go back into Louise idle, okay? And basically, that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go, okay, so from Louise run to Louise jump, again, I'm going to turn off exit time. We're going to say it's not going to be speed, it's going to be jump, which is the other parameter I made. And if it's true, then it's going to do this. And then from Louise jump to go back, it's again going to be, come here, it's going to be jump, and it's going to be false. So if it's not jumping, it's going to go back into this. And same thing here. So again, I'm going to turn off has exit time, and I'm going to click on this, and it's going to be from jump, and basically it's going to go back if it's not true, if it's false. And here it's going to if jump is true, it's going to go into this. Okay, and I'll just make sure I turn off exit time, and there you go. Make sure that one too. All right.